forming the political landscape and shaping the course of history for decades to come. Sweden, though spared the direct devastation of trench warfare, did not emerge from the Great War unscathed. The nation faced its own set of challenges, including economic hardship and social unrest, which created fertile ground for radical ideas to take hold. In the years that followed, Sweden witnessed a shift in its political landscape as autocratic leaders rose to prominence, promising stability and order in a time of uncertainty. This essay will explore the rise of autocrats in Sweden after the Great War, examining the political and social factors that contributed to their emergence. Sweden's neutrality during the Great War shielded it from the physical destruction that ravaged other European nations. However, the war's economic impact reverberated throughout the country, creating hardships that fueled social discontent. The Swedish economy, heavily reliant on trade, suffered from the disruption of global shipping lanes and the collapse of international markets. Unemployment rose, inflation soared, and the standard of living declined for many Swedes. The war also exacerbated existing social tensions within Swedish society. The gap between rich and poor widened, as did the divide between urban and rural populations. Labour unrest grew, with strikes and protests becoming increasingly common. The government's response to these challenges was often seen as inadequate, further eroding public trust in democratic institutions. This volatile mix of economic hardship, social unrest, and political instability created an environment ripe for the rise of autocratic leaders. Capitalizing on the widespread disillusionment and fear, these leaders promised simple solutions to complex problems, appealing to a population desperate for order and security. Section 3, Fanning the Flames, Social Unrest and the Rise of Nationalism. And the post-war years in Sweden witnessed a surge in nationalist sentiment, fueled by economic anxieties and a desire to reassert national identity after a period of global turmoil. This wave of nationalism provided fertile ground for the rise of autocratic leaders who skillfully exploited these sentiments to consolidate their power. They promoted a vision of a strong and unified Sweden, free from the perceived weaknesses and divisions of democracy. Propaganda played a crucial role in shaping public opinion and legitimizing autocratic rule. Newspapers, radio broadcasts, and public speeches were used to disseminate nationalist messages, demonize opponents, and glorify the autocratic leaders. The education system was also co-opted, with curricula revised to promote nationalist ideology and instill obedience to the new regime. Through a combination of economic promises, appeals to national pride, and the suppression of dissent, autocratic leaders gradually tightened their grip on power in Sweden. They dismantled democratic institutions, eroded civil liberties, and established a system of authoritarian control that would have profound consequences for the country and the region. Section 4, A New Hope, the formation of the Lisglimt Alliance. As Sweden descended into autocracy, its neighbour Norway watched with growing concern. Committed to democratic principles and fearful of Sweden's increasingly aggressive rhetoric, Norway sought to counter the rising tide of authoritarianism in the region. This determination led to the formation of the Lisglimt Alliance, a beacon of hope in an increasingly uncertain world. The Lisglimt Alliance, meaning lightning flash in Norwegian, was founded on the principles of democracy, cooperation, and mutual defense. Its primary objective was to safeguard the independence and sovereignty of its members against external threats, particularly from an increasingly assertive and autocratic Sweden. The alliance aimed to deter aggression through collective security, ensuring that an attack on one member would be met with a swift and unified response from all. Beyond its security goals, the Lisglimt Alliance also sought to promote economic and social progress among its members. By fostering trade and cooperation, the alliance aimed to create a zone of prosperity and stability in Northern Europe, standing in stark contrast to the authoritarianism taking root in Sweden.